As much as I believe in karma, I believe that's bad. I think if you intentionally do something that someone who's a good person, I don't know what it means. So I don't think that necessarily.
The drama surrounding Manny Pacquiao was never about size. It was about belief. Every time he stepped into the ring, he carried something heavier than gloves and tape. He carried doubt from other people. They looked at him and saw a small man in a world built for giants. They saw short arms, narrow shoulders, and a frame that did not match the monsters he was asked to face. And every time they made the same mistake. They thought size decided destiny. Manny Pacquiao did not fight like a man trying to survive. He fought like a man trying to conquer. His speed was not just fast. It was violent. His movement was not just smooth. It was unpredictable. He did not stand still long enough to be measured. He did not wait to be tested. He attacked first, turned angles into weapons, and made larger men look slow before they even realized they were in trouble. The ring became his world, and inside it, height and muscle meant nothing without timing and courage. Thurman learned that lesson the hard way. He came into the fight bigger, louder, and full of confidence. He called Manny old. He mocked his reach. He promised to send him into retirement. On fight night, Thurman looked like a giant compared to Pacquiao. He had longer arms, heavier shoulders, and the kind of swagger that only comes from believing you cannot lose. But when the bell rang, Manny did not care about any of that. He came forward with speed Thurman could not read. In the very first round, Manny caught him clean and dropped him. Just like that, the giant fell. Not because he was weak, but because he was unprepared for a man who refused to fight like he was small. By the end of the night, Manny stood as the oldest welterweight champion in history, and Thurman stood as another reminder that arrogance collapses quickly when it meets precision. Joshua Clottey was built like a tank. Thick arms, heavy chest, a body that looked carved from stone. On paper, he was everything Pacquiao was not. Bigger, stronger, harder to move. But Pacquiao did not try to overpower him. He outthought him. He circled him. He struck him from angles Clottey could not defend. Round after round, Manny turned the ring into his classroom and Clottey into his student. By the end, the giant was still standing, but he was broken in a different way. He had been outclassed, outpaced, outsmarted. Muscle had not failed him. Strategy had. Eric Morales once handed Manny one of his toughest lessons. In their first fight, Morales used his reach and experience to control the action and beat Pacquiao. Many thought that meant Manny had finally met someone too big and too skilled to solve. But Manny did not run from that loss. He studied it. He rebuilt himself around it. In the rematch, he came in faster, sharper, more relentless. He overwhelmed Morales and stopped him. By the time they fought a third time, the transformation was complete. Manny crushed him in just a few rounds. What began as a defeat became a statement. The small man did not disappear when he lost. He evolved. Jorge Solis believed height would save him. He stood taller. He believed distance would protect him. But Manny walked through that distance like it did not exist. He hunted Solis, broke him down, and finally dropped him with a brutal combination. Size gave Solis confidence. Manny took that confidence away punch by punch. Chris Algieri came in undefeated and taller than Pacquiao. He talked about opportunity. He talked about destiny. But destiny had other plans. Manny dropped him again and again. 6 times he fell. 6 times he tried to rise. And each time, Manny reminded him that height does not stop timing, and reach does not stop speed. Oscar de la Hoya was supposed to be too big, too strong, too experienced. Manny went up in weight to fight him, and most people believed he was making a mistake. But from the first round, de la Hoya could not handle the pace. Manny's hands were everywhere. His feet never stopped moving. His punches piled up until Oscar's face showed what words never could. By the 8th round, de la Hoya told his corner he was done. Not because he was weak, but because he had been broken by someone he was never supposed to lose to. Antonio Margarito was one of the biggest challenges Manny ever faced. Taller, heavier, longer arms. Known for pressure and toughness, Margarito tried to bully Manny with size and weight. Manny answered with speed and accuracy. Punch after punch carved into Margarito's face. His eye swelled until it nearly closed. Manny could have stopped him. He chose instead to dominate him. 12 rounds of punishment turned the giant into a wounded man struggling to see. By the end, Margarito had lost more than a fight. He had lost the belief that size alone could protect him. Ricky Hatton came forward like a train. He believed pressure would break Manny. But Manny waited. And when the opening came, he fired a left hook that erased everything. Hatton fell hard. He got up. And then Manny sent him back down with a punch that ended the night and became one of the most famous knockouts in boxing history. It took only seconds to prove that speed beats force when force cannot see what is coming. What made Manny Pacquiao different was not just talent. It was defiance. He refused to accept the story people wrote about him. He refused to fight like a small man. He fought like a storm. Every giant who stepped in front of him learned the same truth. Size is only an advantage if you know how to use it. Power is only dangerous if you can land it. And confidence is only strength if it is built on reality. Manny did not shrink in the presence of giants. He grew. He made their size work against them. He turned their weight into slow reactions. He turned their reach into missed punches. He turned their confidence into mistakes. Again and again, the same story played out. They laughed at his arms. They laughed at his height. And then they stopped laughing. His legacy is not just titles or belts. It is the idea that limits are negotiable, that the body does not decide the heart, that speed, intelligence, and courage can rewrite any expectation. Manny Pacquiao did not destroy giants because he was lucky. He destroyed them because he refused to believe the rules that said he could not. He walked into rings where he was not supposed to win. He fought men he was not supposed to beat. And he left behind a trail of broken predictions and fallen giants. Not because he was the biggest, but because he was the bravest. Now the story belongs to history, but the lesson still stands. Never measure a fighter by his height. Never measure a dream by its size. Because sometimes the smallest man in the room carries the biggest storm inside him. What fight do you think best shows Manny Pacquiao destroying a giant? Was it Thurman, De La Hoya, Hatton, or Margarito? Do you believe speed will always beat size, or do you think power still rules boxing? Drop your thoughts below.